Hi, Mark here from the Tangent-Bound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangent-Bound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangent-Bound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangentBoundNetwork.com and see if Tangent-Bound Network is right for you.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Moving the Needle podcast, where we ask, what moves you? Excellent or bogus? Did anyone do the right thing? Do you mess with the Zohan? With me tonight to discuss Do the Right Thing, Rocky vs. Creed, childhood, guilty pleasures, a test of time, you don't mess with the Zohan, once upon a time in Hollywood. With me tonight is Stephanie.
Hello.
Roy. Hello. And Henno. Yo, we want to thank you for listening on iTunes. We're also available on Spotify, just about everywhere you can find podcasts. We are, so come on now, Google Let Play. Us know. Email us at mtnpodcast@gmail.com or on facebook.com/mtnpod. Twitter and tweet us at mtnpod. There's so many ways to find us.
Welcome to the podcast from Temperance Town, the sexiest podcast of world renowned. Tony grows a beard to hide his chin, swaps it with Earl so it glistens. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Download the pod, you won't get enough of these dapper chaps talking deadly fluff. In Hobo Gulch they run a homeless mission, clanging and banging with the pentagram of kittens. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. They enjoy their whiskey and local craft beer. By Odin's unkempt pubis we give a cheer. Tony's a raccoon when he's booziest. Don't be a savage, be an enthusiast. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. On the frozen tundra they call it a lock. Tony likes to masturbate in a sock. Brian pisses rocks cause it feels so great. I still don't know who the fuck is Tate. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. The boys will let you know when there's a spurter. Due to male pattern baldness, they don't wear curlers. Stay salty, people, that's their closing line. And don't forget, have a beer, you'll be fine. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty language.
Ho, 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 enthusiasts! Welcome to the Salty Language Christmas episode, I guess, holiday episode, whatever you want to call it. We don't really care. So, let's see if Santa brought us something nice, or if he brought us a big lump of coal this week. Well, it looks like I have...
Come on, girl.
Baby, who wants to... Love me sexy. Baby, are you ready to lick me sexy? Take off your shoes
legs and suck me sexy. Baby, we're naked and we're pumping sexy. I want to do a little thing with you. I want to do a little thing with you. Showtime! Woo!
Oh, goodness. It looks like Santa brought us competent board work for Christmas.
Yeah, when I push the button, right? I always gotta have faith. It's like it registered it. You don't have to hit it twice.
Yeah.
Was that the funniest fucking...
For regular listeners, I'm sure you'll notice that's not Tony. So no lump of coal this year. We've got Heno. So what I was thinking of it. I almost went because I have wrapping paper in my other room, and I almost brought some in here and just kind of tore it like I was tearing into a present to see,
a present that actually would have been pretty good.
Yeah, I should have. I guess I still could. There is a pregnant pause there, but now I would also have to edit all of this out of it. To hell with that.
But I didn't get a chance to listen to. Did you leave in all that funny stuff in the Crazy Life last week?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You did? I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
Yeah, I didn't even move it. It's right there at the beginning. Like right after the intro song, it goes right into us just making fun of Jen mispronouncing something.
So for those of you who listen to Salt Language and don't listen to the Crazy Life, I recommend you go there. Just listen to the intro because we went into the Baba Waba thing.
Oh man, it was.
Jen said something like, "Welcome to the Quasi Life." That's what it was.
Yeah, it was Quasi Life.
It was Quasi Life.
Yeah.
And then we just went on this long run of.
Oh man.
Of Quasi Life. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, if you didn't know better, you'd almost swear it was like all three of us sitting around just high or something like that and just keep doing that,
Yeah.
It was good fun though. Yep.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, as promised, I left it in. I wasn't cutting any of that out. The funny part was if I hadn't said something on that episode that I wasn't going to cut that out of there, Jen would probably never know because she doesn't listen to the playback.
She doesn't listen exactly. That's just the best part of it.
Yeah. I kind of felt like I needed to say it though because she doesn't listen. It's like, hey, we're going to make fun of you, but I'm just letting you know it's there because that way it doesn't.
But it was
seem
kind
like
of funny because it was just the three of us. We were all kind of riffing on it together in a way. So.
Oh yeah, totally. It was all in good fun. And she's used to that anyway. I mean, she's been friends with me for a long time, 20 plus years, so, she's used to me being a jerk like that. Oh, man. So, again, this week, no Tony, because, looks like he got his house, and I'm assuming he's in the process of moving in.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't have a better weekend for it. It's man, I think it was like almost 50 here today. I mean, I went to the grocery store.
Wow.
And when I came back in, I came in and just threw my coat off and just went back outside and carried the groceries in. So
wow.
Yeah, it was nice. It's sunny and nice. It was great to be outside in that. Considering how we don't usually get this kind of weather here through the winter. It's supposed to be that way for a decent while now. I think they're talking like in the mid or upper 40s for like Christmas and stuff too. So,
wow.
Yep.
Do you have any snow though?
Not much anymore. We did, but it's melted off pretty fast.
Oh, it went away.
Yeah, and certain like parking lots and stuff, you can still see, like around the curbs and stuff. There's still little remnants here and there, but
a little bit. Yeah, wherever the shade is.
Yeah. After today, it'll probably mostly
the shadow
be
of
gone,
the building.
Yeah. Every time I walk by it, I boo it. So
that's funny.
Go and get. We don't want you around here.
Oh,
kick at it.
People want white Christmas. They want white Christmas.
Yeah, they do. Man, I saw they had a thing on the news up here. It was on the Detroit news. Was it last week or the week before? I think. And they showed this guy who used to work for a ski resort. So, he knows how to make snow, and he did it at his house because he wanted snow. And I'm like,
interesting.
In my head, I'm going, first of all, this dude like, you're crazy, because usually we'll get snow. It's like, just wait, it's coming, you know?
Yeah.
But also, then I was like, why not wait till Christmas or Christmas Eve, some of the week of Christmas kind of a thing, then do it maybe, because, you're going to blow up your water bill if you keep doing this. But I guess, what did I know? Because if he had done it now, it would melt super fast probably. So whatever. But my other thing was the fact that it's in the state of Michigan, which, given where he's at, it's not that far from Flint. And, you got people there who can't actually even drink their water. And then you got this guy out there just making snow. First world problems, man. Or not problems, I guess I should say. Just first world privilege is what that is,
Yeah, that really is, exactly.
I was like just shaking my head watching it, like, I mean, nothing wrong with it. I'm sure kids in the area and stuff probably dug it because there was literally no snow anywhere else when he did this, so it was kind of funny. He had like the only snow in the neighborhood. Yeah.
It is not cheap to make your own snow.
Oh, I bet it's not. What'd be funny is if he had kids and he screwed with them, like made the snow so they get up and they look and they're like, yeah, snow day. And he's like, I got you. It's 40 degrees out. Get your clothes on and get out of here. Then it's well worth it.
Yeah, the amount of water that Sun Valley Company uses and the electricity that, just because they have a cooling tower because they have to cool the water down before it runs up the guns. And then there's air compressors and everything. It is expensive.
Yeah. I mean, for them, I'm sure it's worth it, of course, because, they are getting people paying to use the snow.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
But I mean,
we're supposed.
Nothing wrong with this guy doing it. I'm not faulting that. I would just kind of just take that step back and laugh at the overall,
the big picture of it. Yeah. Yeah, where you're at, just like you said, you're gonna get some snow.
Yeah. So at least he lives in an
Speaking
area
of yellow snow.
Like he lives in an area at least where like the snow he's making is not going to be like, for a while in Flint, like they were told not to use the showers and stuff. So it was, like you wouldn't even like if you saw him making snow there, you'd be like, dude, I don't even want to stand in this. Especially
exactly.
Certainly not catching any on my tongue.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like you've got yellow snow and then you've got lead snow.
Yeah, right? Oh, man.
Special lead snow.
All right, now I want this guy to make yellow snow like that. It'd be so easy to do. I'm sure somewhere in the process you could put some food coloring or something. And
just make big splotches of yellow snow.
Yeah. Just can you imagine having a whole front yard full of yellow snow? What would be great is if you could do it gradually. So each day it was more and more. So it just looks like you're out there, peeing on it every day, basically. Oh, man. Looks like you have a big shave ice on the front yard, Oh, man. That'd be terrible.
That's a great idea. I like it. I almost had to do that. We were talking before about how long the new Star Wars movie was, and that you really don't notice how long it is, except there's like one little additional, there's one additional scene. The reason I noticed it because by that time I was squirming. I had to pee so bad.
Eyeballs floating.
I was like,
yeah.
I knew there had to be one more wrap-up scene, and I'm like, okay, make it quick, God, please, God, make it quick.
Then they all start shaking hands and hugging, and you're like, no! and then there's, then there's another one, and then you're like, oh, Lord, and I didn't want to, I really I need to get home, so I went out the exit door, and I'm like, I can make it, and I for a second was like, okay, I could totally pull over somewhere right now and make a pile of yellow snow. But I'm like, I'm going to make it. And I got about 3 blocks away and I'm like, I might not make it. It was close. That's why you always invest in the large drink, or if they have buckets for popcorn, a big bucket for the popcorn, because then you always have a solution right there. You don't even have to leave your seat. you know?
Yeah, I did. I did have it, and I did have the large drink ready. The thing, and what was funny is I was thinking I wasn't speeding, but I was going a little bit fast, and I'm like, if a cop pulled me over, I'd literally have to be like, dude, I had to pee so bad as I'm literally doing it into the cup when he comes and knocks on the window.
I'm sure
like,
that
I'm gonna
has
get
to have
arrested.
happened somewhere, right? Somewhere somebody had to be peeing, like swerving on the road while they're doing it or something, get pulled over, and they're still like, and the cop walks up and just like, come on,
And
man.
they're still doing it.
What? Just pull over and pee.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
what
Somebody
are you
had to
doing?
do it.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is afterwards though is I had that thing of like, when you're drinking and you're like, you're good. You're putting the booze away.
Mm.
You're no problem. And then that first time you finally go relieve yourself and like seal is broken. And now every time you have to pee, it's like you have to pee.
Right.
There's no like, yeah, I'm okay for a while. Well, I've had that now for the last day. It just seems like
Wow.
where that seal got broken. Now it's like I have to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's from off to on.
You should probably
run to the bathroom.
You should probably go to the mechanic about that. You might need a new seal or something.
I do. He'll tell me I blew a seal.
Yeah.
I'll say, fix the damn thing. Keep my private life out of this. And for those of you who don't know that reference, listen to a song called Wet Dream by Kippadata.
Who? Exactly. Go find out.
It's an old Dr. Demento staple.
Oh, my.
It's actually kind of amusing.
Let's go back a couple years. I know. We like to keep things a little more...
Just a few.
We like to keep things a little more current and youthful here on this show.
A little more contemporary.
Right.
Like when you when you have a good old man rant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's contemporary.
Yep. I was listening to the comedian Anthony Jeselnik. Him and Ken Rosenthal, his best friend, they have a podcast. I can't remember the name of it. It's like the Jeselnik Rosenthal I can't remember now. Vanity Project. That's what it is. And I was listening to it last night, and they were kind of talking about, I forgot what it was they were talking about, and then, Rosenthal goes into something, and he goes, he's like, I don't want to sound like an old man yelling at the wind, but, and I just started laughing because,
Yelling at the wind.
Yep.
That's neat.
Yep. Been there. I do it all the time. Well,
there's got to be an old man yelling at the wind soundbite.
There's got to be. The only one, like the thing I tend to use, like GIF wise, is there's the one of Kent Brockman, on The Simpsons when he's like looking up to the corner of like the TV set, where the picture would normally show up behind the anchor, and he's going, "Damn you, Snow!" And I use that one a lot. There's one I think of Grandpa Simpson doing something similar too, and it's basically. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm just an old man yelling, at kids to get off my lawn, but that's all right. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I've been that way for a long time, but more so lately. Oh, man. Ooh. I went into the grocery store today. Like, I arranged to have, how, like, they have the pickup, like the curbside pickup. Well, we did that because, it's getting close to Christmas and grocery stores are just madhouse. Well, any store this time of year now is probably pretty crazy,
True.
They were having some decent sales and whatever too, so they were just crazy. And it's a Saturday, so it was nutty. And I walked in there and I was like, I am so glad I'm only in here to grab like some vegetables and I'm right out of here. Like I'm gonna go right to the U-Scan. I'm gonna be done in 2 minutes and be out of here. And I was in and out of there in like 5 minutes, and meanwhile, there was a woman that cut me off while I was walking I wasn't walking toward the lines. I was walking toward the U-Scans, but she cut me off to try to get into a line before me, which I was like, okay, whatever, like I don't care because I'm not going where you're going, first of all. Otherwise I might have, because I had like 6 things and she had like, I don't know, everything in the store basically in her cart somehow. But anyway, so I walk out, get in the car, get my seatbelt on, we start moving, and then I see the woman coming out, and I kind of had a nice little smug moment, to myself. It was like she about broke her neck to try to get in front of me, and I casually just kept walking, went through, did my business, and just, left. And she came out well after me. Which she should have anyways, because she had a lot of stuff. But it was just funny that she could have let me go in front of her, and she still would have come out in similar time.
Mm.
That's kind of more of what I was laughing at.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, yeah, I don't recommend. If you're going to be doing any grocery shopping this time of year, seriously, this is the time of year where I would definitely advocate the curbside pickup or delivery if you have anxiety, because oh boy.
So I've always been meaning to ask you, what's the shopping experience like for you? I mean, is it just like you just know what you want and you know what you need so well that you can just, or is it you're just repeating what's already you've ordered before?
I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do it. Like I would assume you probably can save or pull up a previous order and then just pull from that. But usually what I do is I just have our list, and when I start typing in this stuff, because I've ordered it before, it's like if you type in milk, 2% milk will be the first one that shows up. Even if I just type milk, 2% will show up, because that's what we usually get. So it kind of, it learns your, what you've bought before, and then
well, okay, so it brings you right to it, basically.
Most of the time, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't,
okay.
But most of the time. I mean, now if you clear out your cookies and everything like that, it won't be there. You'll have to start from scratch. But like I said, there's probably a more efficient way. This is just how I've done it. So at this point, it's what I'm used to, versus learning something new.
Yeah, I guess I could do it now that I think about it.
Yeah. It's really simple. I mean, you can do it on your phone too. I just always do it on my computer. Because then I can kind of go back and forth between like coupons and stuff to see if it's something that I want to get, or I can look up to see if there's some times where we'll get something, I'll look up to see if a store brand is cheaper, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, whereas it's a little harder to do that on your phone because you have to keep, going page to page, whereas I can just do it so much simpler here. There.
Yeah, because if there was something like for example, bacon. Yeah. Like I can't tell you off the top of my head which bacon I get, but I know if I was given the choice of five different, uncured nitrite-free bacons, I would know the one that I typically get.
Right. Now, what's interesting?
It wouldn't be too hard.
The downside to the easiness part of it. Is that if you just do it that way. Now, what I usually will do is there's some stuff like I buy store brand 2% milk. It's generally not going to be, no brand is going to be cheaper than that, right? But say that bacon that you get, maybe there's another brand that's a comparable product that is cheaper. Like if you just allow the thing to autofill and then just click that right away, you won't necessarily get to bargain shop. For some people, they don't care. For some people, they do. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say if you're a person on a budget, make sure you take a good look at everything. Also, I use Kroger, and they've gotten it pretty nice to where if there's a coupon available on a product that you pull up, they will show it right there. And then you can also click on a thing that shows you qualifying products. So you can add right from that even right to your cart. So, cool. If whatever is on sale, but you need to buy 3 of them, you can go, I want to get different flavors. You don't have to type it in again. You can just pull up the qualifying things and click right from there. So they've done quite a bit to make it as convenient as they can. But there are times where I've looked stuff up and gone, oh, wow, this is bacon's a good example because the kind we usually get here. There's not one brand necessarily. It's kind of I know there's a certain thing I'm looking for. I want this cut, this of bacon. And then it's okay, which is cheapest? Unless we've had it and it's not good, So, yeah.
I think I dig that, especially for my usually Saturday nights I'm at the grocery store doing my shopping for the week because I work on Sundays.
Right. And
it's pretty much set. I know what I'm going in and getting because it's my lunch for work. It's several after dinner. there's always something that I'll do different every week, but most of the time it's about the same shopping list.
Yeah, same here for the most part. What we get is pretty much the same stuff, which, like you said, or maybe we want, some cookies, or we want this or that that's different that we don't normally get or something. So then, go grab that. But the biggest reason, like the biggest upside to using it is it cuts down on, what do you call it? Impulse buys. Like you're walking around the store.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect example, right?
Yeah.
I ordered the groceries and there was like no goodies really of any kind because it's Christmas season and I know we're going to have plenty around us, in the next few days.
Yeah.
But when I went in to get my vegetables and I had to go get some other stuff, I see a thing and I'm like, ooh, they have dark chocolate Oreos now? Well, I have to try those. So now I have a bag of those that I didn't have because I didn't know they existed before. So, and I'm weak. I'm a weak man.
I'm a weak man.
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah. But, like I said, so whereas I wouldn't have seen those otherwise unless there was an advertisement or something that popped up while I was doing my shopping. So, yeah. But anyway, we should probably move on. I'm sure this is riveting for people. Like, gee, I've always wondered how Brian shops. It really helps me, though, because
I
of the
can't be the
anxiety.
only listener that was curious about the, logistics of this. I mean, come on.
Like I said, it really helps me because of the anxiety part.
Oh, that's true, too. Yeah, I get that.
So, I mean,
plus all that deli rage.
Right, yeah, exactly. Why, that's a callback. Yeah, I mean, use that in a while.
You're actually doing a service for the public.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're being of service to the public by not going into a grocery store and having deli rage.
The woman who brought out the groceries today, I was standing out there because I don't feel right just sitting in the car letting them load the car.
That would be really weird.
I can't do that. I always help. Plus, a lot of times, like I'll move, like the case of water or whatever to the back seat so that there's more room in the trunk and stuff. So. But I just feel weird. I can't just like sit there while somebody else does it. It just feels so weird to me. But anyway, so I'm standing out there and I was talking with her a little bit while we were doing it, and I was like, how do you like doing this? And she's like, on days like today, it's amazing. Cause she's like, I get to keep going outside. And she's like, I don't have to like push all the carts around, she's like, so, cause they just have a hand truck with like collapsible crates that they have the groceries in.
Yeah.
And it's super easy to move cause I've moved one, and they're, so, and she moves it like it's nothing. So, it's pretty, like I said, on a day like today, you get to get out and get into the sun instead of standing inside and, the fluorescent lights for 8 hours. So, but there's also the days where it's like 5 degrees outside or 95 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Take your pick. When it's humid, it's got to be awful too. So, yeah. Yeah. So, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, it's been pretty much a solid butt kicking at work, but It's fun just because your day is set.
Yeah.
Although really for me, it's not the same because like we're prepping for rentals and owners coming in, and the rentals are mostly falling on the housekeepers, and then we've got some of our maintenance guys going around and just kind of checking everything, doing little tune-ups, and so usually I don't have a lot to do because all the big projects are done. But what I end up usually doing is if I hear that an owner's going in, is showing up, I'll go in if I particularly know what their hot button issues are,
okay.
and I'll go approach those. But the bummer about that is like sometimes where it's like okay, walk in, there's no internet. Okay, why and knowing that the person, it's these people, the particular people I'm talking about are like people that were involved with developing the property. So to them, everything in their unit should always work perfectly.
Right.
There's never a not working something or other.
Right.
Like even like a gate to the pool, it's kind of fun. I get it. I appreciate it. Like Rich, who is the developer of the unit of the project, he just expects his gate to work.
Yeah.
Now it's not his gate. It's a gate to a common area pool, that's also part of the health club. But for him, it's his gate and it should basically open the minute that he steps within a foot of it.
Like his glowing aura should just open it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I built this fucker. I built this property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of an attitude. So those are the kind of things where it's a little bit of a panic, because anything that involves an outside contractor, they're getting yanked at by everybody.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And then you're just like, oh Lord. And then it's weird, the things you'll go up, and we've been looking at something for months and months. All of a sudden it's like, oh, that wine refrigerator is working. It's like, well, why didn't we check it 6 months ago? And I said, well, 6 months ago it was working. 3 months ago it was working. It just waited until today.
Yeah. It's on vacation.
Yeah.
Get tired.
But the fun part of my week, and the part that I am I work for some rich fucks. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
I can tell you things about every single person, and you'll know something about who they are for the most part, just because they're either they have famous family names or whatever it is. And some of them are extremely generous with just gifts and tips and things like that. And then my coworker, who is our concierge, who gets a lot of cash given to him, he's pretty much a millionaire now from family. Well, his in-laws are Chubb, as in Chubb Insurance.
Okay.
So his wife's family is Chubb Insurance, and they sold the company is a publicly traded company now, so they sold their part of it. So Sean doesn't need money, and so he's always slipping cash to me and to Omar and the guys that we're there, Johnny on the spot for him. And I love it because like yesterday I went to my little local diner that I go every week for breakfast, and I leave $20 tips.
Yeah.
And I did it again today, and I love doing that. It's just so nice to like just kick it down the line to people that are making. I mean, Idaho's like got that low restaurant worker minimum wage. It's like I don't even think it's $4. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the same.
And so
here.
I love being able to do that. It's just fun. And it's not like I'm rolling big. That's not the point.
Yeah.
It's the fact that someone's given me money that I can then hand to someone that is like, I walk in there and the waitresses are guessing what I'm going to have for the day, because, I'm a total regular.
Yeah.
And I have a handful of things.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I sit down, my coffee cup gets put down, and the little thing of creamers is only the creamers that I like.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's my version of Norm walking into Cheers. Norm.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
And the beer is sitting there, right?
Right.
At
when you walk in, you expect the coffee to just work. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I get within a foot, that coffee should be getting laid down there.
Yeah. Don't they know who you are? Yeah. Anyway, wrong podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey,
No, I get it though.
If you want to know who I am, listen to Crazy Life.
There is really something about when you go to a place and they know who you are, that it's one of two things. It's either comforting or it's an alarming thing. I learned that when I worked at the video stores, because the alternate way, like the one place I worked, they didn't have membership cards at all. You just gave your phone number, and people would walk in, and I'd be like, hey Rich, I already got your, and they'd be like, don't you need my phone? I'm like, nah, I got it. And they're like, you do? And I'd be like, and I'd rattle it back to them, and they'd be like, oh, and it's weird because that is a personal kind of thing. Like I could see where it's like, oh, my phone number, it's like, it's not like knowing someone's social or something, but it's still, it's not like arbitrarily knowing a membership number,
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, or if a lot of them, I just knew their name is all it was. So I just look them up by name because, it's fast. So, but there were a lot of people that were they didn't blink at it, didn't think a thing of it, because they're like, yeah, I'm in here all the time, and then there were other people who were like, whoa, kind of like, okay.
It kind of makes you wonder whether we should be using phone numbers. Well, all right,
no.
So this is something
given the world we're in now, no.
Laugh. when somebody was complaining about facial recognition, right? Like the whole facial recognition thing that they do at the airports now, and something about phone numbers and blah 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 info, and it's just like, all right, so what's the difference between them scanning my face or me showing them a picture of my face?
Right.
Or the fact that everyone's like, oh, Facebook has got my phone number. Yeah, we used to hand out you'd get phone books. Everybody had your number.
Right.
Remember when you used to have your name, your address, and your phone number in a book, and everybody in the fucking town had it.
Right.
Oh, but now Facebook's got my phone number.
Yeah, right. I know. What's funny though is, if you listen to anything with privacy experts and stuff, they all tell you should not be giving your phone number, because we've gotten probably too casual with it. But at this point, it's also going to be really tough not to, because like you said, it's we've been in that habit for so long. But I'm with you on the face recognition thing. It's like, okay, well, I have a piece of laminated cardboard in my wallet that has my picture on it that is in a record. Like it's in a database already, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah, it's already in a database.
Yeah.
The government already has it.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about, they're making you take a picture now when you show up at the airport, and now your picture's in a database. It's like, it already is.
Right. I know. It is funny. Tony and I have talked about it plenty of times on here before about just it's amazing and this includes all of us, just what we've been willing to just hand over for free over the years. And then we're like, wait a minute, like.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden now, whoa, you're going too far there. And it just helps. I just like to get a little perspective. I like to get reminded, once you get into your little.
Well, think about it. For
onto
years,
the high horse a little bit, and
for years, unless someone asked you what your social security number is, you'd probably be like, like if someone asked that, you're like, whoa, what do you need that for? But if someone was like, hey, what's your address? Most people would be like, oh, it's blah, what's your phone number? Blah,
yeah, like
what's your birth date? And people would tell you they didn't care. For the longest time. Now on your ID, even and this has been this way for a long time now, but I remember when your ID always had your social and your birth date on it, and now you have options, but it's just kind of funny how, nobody ever really worried about a lot of that stuff. And now, again, now it's like the horse is out of the barn, like on so much of that,
Here's the is that all of those little details are the tools of the hacker to get into your accounts, because most of us are really fucking stupid with our passwords.
Yeah, my mom and I were talking about that. I forgot what they had on TV. There was some, data breach kind of thing or whatever. And I was explaining to her how, basically if a hacker gets one old password of yours and an email, that they will then apply those things across a bunch of things to see if they can get anything, And it's like the biggest problem most of us have is that we use the same passwords for a lot of sites instead of
the same thing,
different password for everything. And again, I, listened to a podcast with a security expert, and he talked about that, how everything you do should have a different password and you should update them regularly. And it's like nobody wants to do that, because everything you sign up for now, you have to have a password. And it's like, I have 90 apps on my phone. I don't want 90 different passwords just for my apps, let alone any of my bank accounts. And, but it's like, if nothing else, at least you don't have to be super, super paranoid about it, but at least dial it in to some extent to like, don't use those passwords on your bank accounts, tax documents, your big, like anything that really gives people access to your finances, but it is funny how people get outraged over some stuff, and it's just like, but you give this freely to Facebook or whoever else, and just shake your head at it, like, and once you've given it to Facebook, like you're not getting it removed. Because you're not going to have enough money to have that happen, even if you cancel your account, they're not giving you you're deleting your data,
Yeah.
So
I just have a couple accounts where it just depends on the computer that it stores the wrong password or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and I end up getting locked out and I have to do a new password, right? And
Yep.
it just happens to be a couple that happens to me.
Mm.
And finally last week it happened again, and I got so mad that I ended up basically as my password, I did a fuck you to the company as my password, and I went, oh, this is brilliant. I'll never forget this. And I thought I could do this for every single company. And granted, yes, it'll eventually be predictable. Like after somebody saw that for 3 times, I said, fuck you, Amazon.
Right.
They'll try, fuck you, Chase.
Right. Yeah.
But it's better than using the same. They're all slightly different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Like you said,
and I remembered it right away.
Yeah. I bet. Oh, man. It's funny you mentioned, like, talking about
and here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the one thing that's good about it, too, is, like when you have autofill on a password.
Yeah.
And if your passwords are all between 7 and 8 characters, you can't tell the difference between an autofill from a month ago versus 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
Right.
Well, when suddenly it's a long phrase that says, I fucking hate you, Mark Zuckerberg, you can tell which one you're using.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I mean, unless you have a lot of, places you're through that the CEO is, got a long name like him. Like for Amazon to be shorter because,
exactly.
Jeff Bezos, so it's much shorter than Mark Zuckerberg. I was reading last night, speaking of the whole data thing, did you see that they were talking about the Equifax the breach on that and how everyone was supposed to get what was it?
The terms.
$125 or counseling or not counseling, but credit watching, basically,
Yeah. And they were changing all the terms and everything it. And yeah,
I saw like they talk about in this article. I don't have it in front of me. I'll have the link in the show notes. But they pulled up that basically the only one, of course, the only people getting paid are the lawyers. And when they were working out how the payment structure was going to work for the final part of it, the lawyers basically were like, well, this is a like history or a historic kind of ruling. So we had to do blah, 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 making it sound more like their work was more and more important. And it's like, okay, in the end here, the important part of this is that people got their data breached. They are the ones who should get massive payouts from this. I understand the lawyers had to do some work and they should get compensated. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but people, when you're talking about now all of a sudden people can't get $125 for a data breach, that's beyond ridiculous. And again, in the end, Equifax wins on this one no matter what, because they're just like, hey, we paid the money, and in the end, these people got all this stuff. And for all the people who opted for the money versus the credit monitoring, now it almost looks like you made the wrong decision. Could have got the credit monitoring. At least you get
really
something out of it.
Yeah. Now they're making it so that you basically have to prove where you had credit monitoring at that time to get the payout.
Yeah.
They did have a selective I think this got dropped, but for a while, when I first went onto it, they had a way that you could itemize your time instead of getting the lump payout.
Yes.
You could itemize your time and get paid based on that. And so that's what I submitted because so I submitted that I had to freeze my credit reports. I have the receipts for freezing the credit reports. And then I added an hour of time for each time I sat down, had to freeze or unfreeze.
Right.
But I think they ended up dropping that one too.
Yep.
Because again, it was like, lawyers talking to lawyers. Well, we don't know if they really did or if they didn't, blah, blah, blah.
It's like, oh no, I have the receipts. Like for you have the receipts for these things and proof.
And I attached them. Yeah, I literally attached them with the submission.
If they wanted to say, hey, if you can't prove it, we can't pay for that. That I'd be like, well, that's understandable. Just the same as if you had an item from a store and tried taking it back and they're like, where's the receipt? And you go, I don't have it. And they go, we can't prove you bought it from us or that you bought it at all. I mean, Yeah, I know. I saw that. I was reading that yesterday, and I was just just shaking my head, because it's just every time I see one of these big rulings, and then when you see how it finally shakes out, it's just like, yeah, who cares? Like, don't even, like, honestly, in the end, I'm like, just let Equifax have the money. I don't even care, because they're going to make so much more money later. They'll never miss that money. And it's like the only thing that happened in this whole process basically is the lawyers got a lot of money. That's the way this is going to pan out,
and I do have to say that things got changed where you can now freeze and unfreeze your credit report without having to pay the whatever $15 or whatever $8 it is every single time, which I thought was just crap.
Me too. Yeah, I agree with you on that. So it's so disappointing though. Not because, first of all, I was part of the breach and I was like, wow, I guess it's better than nothing. Because who knows? Like, the thing is, it's like my data is worth more than $125 to Equifax. My data is worth more than $125 to anyone who has it, even though I have terrible credit. My info is still worth money, and I, fully understand that. So to basically say that the security of my info being breached is only worth $125 in the first place is laughable. But here we are, going back to what we give away for free. But we don't even have control over that. We can't say, I don't want Equifax to have my information. We don't get a say in that.
Yeah, well,
and that's bullshit. If that's the case, they should have to pay through the nose, because if it's mandatory that they're going to carry my information, they should have to pay through the nose for when someone breaches it. That's just should be the cost of doing business. And in the end, I'm going to walk away with basically nothing, and hopefully nothing comes of my data being breached. That's the best I get out of it, because I went for the money instead of the credit monitoring, because I do tend to stay on top of my own stuff pretty well. Also, I have terrible credit. There's not a lot that's going to be able to be done, but there's still plenty. I ended up
just doing a total freeze, and it was the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because it just stops so many things from happening. Like the amount of crap I got in the mail dropped. I was now I'm only getting stuff from people that I already do business with. It actually ended up being a really good thing to do that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I probably should have done that for that same reason. And I almost did. Like, I almost did the freeze, but I didn't. And I, looking back, I definitely should have, but whatever. I'm pretty sure when it first happened, I was also of the opinion that you should get the credit monitoring no matter what. I feel like that is a 100% you should get it, because it literally costs them no money. They already have the software that has filters. If something happens, it pings. All they have to do is put your name into that list. That's literally the only thing they have to do, So I feel like that should be an automatic, especially with the new rule. Like, if the court had ruled, hey, in lieu of the money, you now have to give everybody this. Even if they already have it, you tack it on to the end of something, or I don't know, whatever. And then I could at least live with that, because then at least it's like, well, at least I get something. Because credit monitoring, I'm not laughing or joking at that at all. I mean, it is a valuable asset, but still,
Oh, I've had several occasions now where some company that I am involved with, whether through work or personally, had a breach, and they decide to set everybody up for credit monitoring for a while. I never minded. I like it. It's kind of cool.
I had it happen a few years ago, because I used to have a Target Red card, and I'm sure you remember when Target had their breach, and they even sent me a thing, and when I looked, it didn't. My name did not appear on the oh God, what's the name of that site? Am I pwned, or whatever the site is? Or have I been pwned, whatever it is.
I remember that.
I looked on there, and it didn't ping anything on there. And Target, when they messaged me, they even were like, it doesn't look like it, but we're giving you a year of free credit monitoring, for the problem, basically. And I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. Doesn't look like anything of mine was breached, and I get a free year of credit monitoring. Fine. Yeah. But in this case, it was breached. I was wronged. So now again, I wouldn't have necessarily. Well, I would have known it if something had happened, but otherwise I wouldn't have known. But anyway, Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up more so that if anyone listening happens to be somebody waiting on that check to come, start living your life. Yeah, don't worry about it. It ain't coming.
Yeah, I get those cards every once in a while. You don't, do you want to be part of the class
Yeah.
action and what, if you do nothing, this happens or blah, blah. And then, and I just always love the part where you get to the bottom where it's like the expected payout per person will be $1.03.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that. There was a year that EA Sports, or EA, Electronic Arts that makes video games and everything. There was something about their games that I don't remember what it was. Anyway, they were ruled that they had to pay a bunch, various money in a class action. And I get this card in the mail, and it was like, we have your name because you registered the following games. And I had like 8 games on there from the time frame.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, I get to the bottom, and it's like expected payout was like $2.50. And I'm like, I bought 8 of their titles. So if someone only bought one, they better not get the $2.50. They better get an eighth of what I'm getting.
Yeah, it better be based on volume. Blue Buffalo, yeah, the dog food company.
Yeah,
they had a recall and a bunch of stuff, and it just so happened that I bought a ton of their Blue Bones, and I did it off of Amazon, which means I had all the receipts.
Yeah.
And I ended up having it was over $300 in purchases. And it took forever, but eventually I got a $360 check.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. That's the most I've ever gotten back from one of these things.
The most I've gotten to this point was, I don't remember what it was for. Well, there's 2. One was years ago. It was from some magazine thing that basically it was ruled that something they were doing was considered light mail fraud. And anyway, they were ruled that basically, so they sent me a thing that was basically saying, here's what happened, and we have to give a payment, and it's basically your expected payment would be, $5 or something. And it goes, and they offered I think it was 5-year subscriptions to magazines, and there were 3 or 4 magazines on there that I was getting at the time, and I'm like, well, I'll take that because that's laughable money, that's one of those where if you never got it, you'd be like, who cares? I don't.
Yeah.
But it's if I can get a few years magazines out of it, it's
Deal.
Sure, I'll take it. And I didn't feel wronged in that. I guess whatever it was, something about there was another one a few years ago that I was part of too, that I got a little bit of money out of, $20 or something. And it was because they were charging shipping fees on the magazines, and there's something in Michigan law that states you can't, whatever it was they were doing something they couldn't do.
Yeah.
And anyways, basically they had to refund some of that. I got $20 out of that one, but there was one, I can't remember what it was for now. I got $80 out of it or something, or $83, so I was like, all right, I was shocked. When I got it, it said the expected payout would be somewhere around $20 to $50, based on how many people reply. And then I guess maybe not enough people replied. I don't know, because I got quite a bit more, or maybe the monies were changed where maybe the lawyers got less and more actually went to the settlement. Yeah. I don't know, but most of the time I'm with you though. It's most of the time when you look at that, you're like, it's $1.50. This isn't even worth my time to fill this card out. I still do it generally, but
yeah, and I've had a bunch of those under $10 things for a lot of times. What it was, a lot of times it was a lot of computer ones where RAM or something like that, a video card or blah blah blah, and you end up getting a check for $4.95 or something or whatever.
Yep. That's usually what it is they did something with taxes or shipping or something that they weren't allowed to do.
Something weird. Yeah.
I've gotten so many of those over the years, and it's funny because I've gotten so many that at one point I was kind of starting to go, okay, is this becoming a scam because it's a common thing, or is this literally? I just think these companies, I think the problem a lot of them run into with some of these things is they're probably not vetting the laws well enough, and they're selling in multiple states. And a lot of times,
exactly, and they get bit.
Like I said, with that one in Michigan, there was some ruling Michigan has about certain something in shipping. They violated that, and that's what it is. In Ohio, it wasn't a problem, but in Michigan, it's a problem because they were only able to go back so many years, and I had the subscription longer than that, but I lived in Ohio at the time. So it was only during the Michigan years I got money for it. So it's kind of weird, but whatever.
Tsunami. The Michigan year.
Yeah. Right. I was listening to real quick shout out for our pals over at the Shot at History podcast. The most recent episodes have Tony from this very show on them. And it made me laugh when Calvin was doing, he was playing had a card game that was basically, can you pass the citizenship exam, which I was having a fun time doing along with them. And I did better than most of them did. So, but I still missed some that I was not proud I missed, actually. But, anyway, like when the one he asked about your state government, and he asked Tony, and Tony was like, because he asked Michigan, and Tony goes, I don't know, I'm an Ohioan, and he goes, okay, well, how about your Ohio government? Tony's like, I don't know, I just moved back. It just cracked me up because it was like, oh yeah, he's got a nice clean answer for both of those, huh?
Those, yeah.
That was actually one where I was a little ashamed of myself, actually, because I can't name a lot of the government in Michigan. I've lived here long enough now, I should be able to, and like I can't name my representatives. I can remember Gary Peters is the only one I can remember. I know Gretchen Whitmer's the governor of the state, you know. That's about all I can tell you. From there, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, I need to comb up on this a little bit, especially because, you know, the election's coming up and whatnot. I need to see what's going on a little better. I've kind of had my head in the sand. It's like I pay attention when it's time to vote, and then my brain just doesn't retain stuff like it used to for whatever reason. So, yeah. But, and also I missed the ones on all the U.S. protected properties, but they didn't get all of them either. I missed the one. Was it? There's the very last one Calvin said. I forgot what it is now, and I was like, I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it was the like the U.S. Virgin Islands or something like that.
No, not that one. That one I knew. There was one after that he said, and I'm like, what? And I think almost everybody on the show was kind of like, what is that? Like, I think Calvin even was a little like, I'm not sure what this is. So I felt a little more vindicated there, because at least I wasn't like by myself not knowing, you know. So, but yeah,
that was kind of fun.
I love the one where they were like, what are things the federal government can do that, you know, only the federal government can do? And as soon as he said it, the very first, I was like, declare war. Very first, like I said, as soon as he finished the statement, and they're naming other stuff slowly, and I'm like, really? No one's going to say declare war? Like, Ohio can't declare war on China. You know, like, it doesn't work that way. Like, I was like, I figured that'd be the first one, because to me, it's the most obvious one. You know, because a lot of the other stuff, there's a lot of, you know, stuff the states can do that the federal government can't do. Like you said, there's only, 4 or 5, I think, that were listed. But anyway, I kind of want to get that card set, because I think that'd be a really fun thing to have for different times for exactly the reasons he said, which is when you have people who have strong immigration feelings, and you'd be like, okay, well, let's play a quick game.
Well, one of my coworkers is taking the test next Thursday. He's taking a citizenship test, so we've been talking about it a lot lately. So
sure.
Well, yeah, when they were doing that, I was kind of up on a lot of the questions. But the funny thing was, when they got to the Native American tribes, I was naming all these tribes that weren't even on the list.
I had very few.
I'm from, you know, here we have a tiny little Native American tribe, and where I grew up in Marin, there's a tiny little Native American tribe.
Okay.
They weren't even on those lists, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I honestly,
but it was a big list.
If I had been asked, I would have probably been like, I don't know, Cleveland, because the Indians, and he said name a tribe, so I would have, you know, but that would have been my answer, because you got to boo for me, because I deserve it.
Oh, I was going to do a drum roll, but I'll give you the boo.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't do real well on those. I knew, what did I get? 5 or 6, I think I got, which I have a feeling that most people would probably get somewhere near that number. And that's the thing with a lot of these questions. Like, if you go actually look at some of the citizenship test questions, it's very similar to, like, when you're trying to graduate high school. If you just took somebody who had no knowledge of this stuff, most of the stuff they're throwing at you, you're probably never really going to need to know.
No.
But you should also kind of know it, at some point, especially the government stuff, because you should know how the government works, and who your representatives are, and.
Yeah, and there's also the parts of it where just you have a general familiarity with kind of the country and some of our basic history.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of the questions are like needing to know all the Native American tribes, that kind of a stuff.
Yeah.
To me, that feels like something that somebody
feels like a
lobbied
gotcha
for.
Yeah, that feels like a gotcha question also. And again, I have no problems with it because like after hearing that, I was like, wow, I haven't heard of some of those tribes. So it was like, I actually may look up some of those to look kind of like where they're from and stuff. Cause I'm not familiar with it. Again, though, I live in part of the country where we don't, there's not a lot of that tradition in this area, really. So it isn't something we really grew up around. And, one thing you learn, especially after you talk with people who are from other areas, especially if they're not from the U.S., you learn just how centralized U.S. schools are in teaching us about where we live. They don't necessarily teach us about outside of where we live, whether, like I have a lot of, I grew up in school taking various Ohio history stuff. If I move to California, I don't expect everyone in California to know a bunch of Ohio history stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and vice versa. So, that's the stuff you pick up as you get older. And again, you can't know everything on this stuff, but I used to pride myself in knowing a lot of this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I've really lost retention of some of that. And it's like, I actually might pull up the citizenship test or whatever. And like, maybe I need to see. Maybe I just need to, say, hey, you know what? I should learn this shit because, I mean, I'm not a person screaming against immigration, but it's, like I'm also.
Oh, damn well. Those people that scream against that don't know shit.
Right. But you're right, though. There are a lot of questions on there. Like, I don't have a problem with knowing, like, hey, how many, how many stars are on the flag? How many stripes are on the flag? And why are they on the flag? I don't have a problem with that because that's founding of the country kind of stuff. And really, those are those should be softball questions because those are ones that you should be, like if you're looking at the list of questions, you'd be like, okay, I'm definitely going to remember these because they're easy, like, and like us, we're taught that stuff I was taught that stuff in elementary school, So I have a
question. My basic knowledge of the area around the Great Lakes. Wasn't that? I mean, there were a ton of Native American tribes around there.
There were.
I mean, you have entire cities and towns that are named that are Native names.
Right, but
and yet you're telling me that it wasn't a real
no.
Prominent topic?
No. Like it's not. We weren't taught a lot about that stuff in school. We're 'cause,
really
We're taught about how we're taught about our great white ancestors. I mean, it's
well, I guess it's true. This is the reason I know so much about the Miwok tribes in California is because we had a Miwok village because it's California and it's very progressive. And of course they'd have a recreation of a Miwok village and tell you everything about the Miwoks.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like I've been through excuse me, like in Ohio I've been through a lot of the historical sites. Cause years and years ago, my sister, her husband would take me and my nephew in the summer and take a week basically. And we would go visit various sites across the state, presidential homes. Cause Ohio's home to, a variety of ex-presidents. And, we go to that. We went to like Fort Meigs and we went to Anthony, the Battle of Anthony Wayne, or not the Battle of Anthony Wayne, Jesus. The Battle of Fallen Timbers, where General Mad Anthony Wayne, is known for. And, we go see the battlefield and the sites around that. And we went and did a bunch of those kind of things. And it's amazing how, like, you're really not, like, even doing a lot of that stuff, it's, like, more about, like I said, it's more about, like, our great white ancestors than it is anything in this area. So, now I will say this. I have not done a lot of Michigan touring. So, it's possible there's, like if I'd grown up in Michigan, maybe there had been more of it. But in Ohio, they, basically we were just taught how the, white man slaughtered the Indians.
Yeah, I could see the difference between Michigan and Ohio because of how far north Michigan goes.
Yeah.
And that it is more connected to that.
Yeah.
That frontiersman kind of a thing than I imagine Ohio was.
There's parts of Ohio that definitely have it, but again, a lot of Ohio's historical relevance, the stuff that really gets pushed is, like I said, Fort Meigs is something that's, because it's still there. You can go see a lot of the stuff, and they have reenactments and stuff like that out there a lot. And at Fallen Timbers, they've got a bunch of historic stuff about that battle, and you're taught about, like I said, Anthony Wayne, who was a crazy general who used unconventional tactics and whatever. And literally, the place I go every other week for my shots, Monroe, Michigan, is the birthplace of General Custer. Which is weird because they're proud of that, but, yeah. But anyway, a lot of people know who he is. But again, what's he known for? Is he was known for one of the few guys who's known for not slaughtering. He's known for being slaughtered by.
Well, there's a reason. I mean,
his
he
arrogance.
did some terrible things before that.
So. Oh, yeah. No. I am in no way standing in, being apologetic for him. I'm just kind of laughing at the whole, most of the time, like, if someone's known in historical purposes around wherever, it's generally because, they were brave and they fought the savages. And it's like, oh, you mean the people who are trying not to have everything stolen from them? Like, I don't know. Even as a kid, I was like,
yeah, this doesn't add up to me.
But anyway, yeah, it was, I think this, that kind of thing, whether you get like that card game he refers to or not, or just looking at the test itself.
I'm sure there's plenty of all online shit, huh?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was like Jimmy Kimmel who used to do stuff like that, where he would go around and ask people questions from it just to see if they know.
Man on the street.
Yeah. And, and different stuff like that. So, it's one of those things that, like, if you find yourself feeling knowledgeable or you think you're smart in that area, maybe go check it out. Yes.
If suddenly a gong of knowledge goes off in your head and you feel like learning something new.
Yeah. Oh, I was actually approaching it more from a, like, if you think you're big shit when it comes to this kind of stuff, like, go get humbled, basically. Because unless you're living in this, there's probably a lot most people probably have forgotten or don't know.
I had a great one of those moments this week. I was in a discussion on Facebook with somebody about the impeachment. And there was one detail I wanted to look up, and I stumbled on this analysis of impeachment by a law, it's a law firm's website. And they had a whole page dedicated to what's in the Constitution, what rules have been created in previous impeachments, what was happening here and there. And then every little detail, I mean, it was deep. It got to a point where I'm like, okay, one's referencing back to rules that somewhere in like the second paragraph, they said they called something rule number 7. And then they keep in parentheses all the way through the rest of the document, referring back to rule 7. And after about the, half a page, you forgot what rule 7 was. And you had to scroll back to the beginning. Like I needed to keep a cheat sheet with me, as notes. It was awesome, but it was also just like, whoa, okay, I'm done. I'm going back to listening to my book on tape.
Right. I love when I stumble into that stuff, but at the same time, you're just like, man, I thought I knew something about this topic. And it's like, geez, like, but it's good though. I do that a lot with science articles I'll find like through Reddit or other places where like when you go to start reading them, it's not quite a wow, I can't think now. I'm having a complete brain shit. It's not like a paper you would submit to a journal. It's not a, or from a professional to a professional kind of paper, but it's something where it's got a lot of jargon in it to where you really got to kind of, like, since I don't know a lot of it, I'll have to stop and keep looking words up.
So it's not quite like a published study, but it's still
right. It's still a very well researched and written. And again, you're writing it to where other people who are familiar are going to read it. So you use in speak, lawyers do too.
Because you're putting it into a journal, a science journal.
Yeah, or potentially or whatever.
For peer review.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'll stumble into some of those, and I'm like, God, I really want to read this, but I've got to be in the right place to read this because I've got to be willing to also do homework while I'm reading it. And then sometimes you have to go back and reread something because you'll go, oh, that's what that was about. And then go reread, so a lot of times I'll end up reading the paper 3 or 4 times and they're long papers.
This is why I will thank the moron trolls I tend to have little mini debates with on Facebook, because they'll say something and I'll go, that doesn't sound right to me. And I'll go look it up. And yes, I am doing, I'm looking for the information that is going to prove my point.
Yeah, confirmation bias.
I'm
sure.
not being open-minded here. Yeah, it is my confirmation bias.
Yeah.
However, I ultimately learned something and I do thank them for it.
Yeah, right.
I say thank you because something just tickles me like that doesn't sound right. And then I'll go look up and I'll go, okay, this is why it doesn't sound right to me.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'd say, thank you.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Right. And I like that.
Besides
though.
that you're a moron.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah. But I like that stuff, like especially, and I don't want to get too into politics, but with like the impeachment stuff there are too many people who don't understand that being impeached is basically it's like being accused. It's not exactly the same, but it's like people think if a president's impeached that they've been found guilty and it's like, no. Yeah. It's like, no, that's not exactly what goes on here. It's, you can be impeached like
the indictment.
Clinton was impeached. They ruled not to remove him from office. He was impeached though.
The indictment analogy is really strong because when you hear a lot about, we're just going to have a failed impeachment. No, it'd be like saying there's a failed indictment. Yeah. No, there's never a failed indictment. I mean, well, I take that back. I'm sorry. There are indictments that don't lead to indictment.
Right.
Yes. There are grand juries that choose not to indict. Yes. However, if someone is indicted and they go to court and they are found by a jury to be innocent after a full court, the indictment wasn't a failure.
Right.
The indictment was still a success.
Right.
Yes. It got that person into court. And that's why I think impeachment is a really great indictment is a great analogy for impeachment, because the impeachment is a success no matter what.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean?
It's there.
If it goes, regardless of what happens at the trial, if the impeachment led to a trial, the impeachment was a success.
Exactly. And it's always there.
I said what I was trying to say.
Yes. And I agree. And I think what's confused a lot of people is that it's just the jargon, because if you put it in those terms, I think most people would fully understand it because we've all seen or been through those processes. Like somebody, or you've seen on TV where someone's been indicted but not convicted, or you see that, So it's one of those that it makes more sense because the other is more common speak. When you start using impeachment, it's not something we use ever anywhere else, really. So people don't fully understand it. And you should learn that. Like, as sad as it is, it's like, it's one of those things I feel like people need to learn, because think about it this way. Well, in my lifetime, there's been 2 presidents impeached now. There's only been 3 presidents that have been impeached, and they're all within since the 60s. Like no.
Nixon wasn't impeached.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He resigned.
He resigned.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you have to go back to Andrew Johnson.
Okay, that's
right. His names look alike.
My fault. Yeah. But 2 in my lifetime still. So it's one of those. And the way politics and different stuff have been, I wouldn't be shocked if we see more. It's not. Hopefully we won't.
That's
because it's
something that got brought up recently that I think is accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it's unnecessary, but still maybe, at least just learn the basics of it so that, if nothing else, it'll make your argument stronger. No matter which side of the aisle you're arguing for here, at least it'll make you seem, at least then you'll understand what you're arguing a little better.
I had somebody that tried to call me out on something I posted, and they did it in a rather, well, they used a lot of capital letters. I'll just put it to you that way. And I came back with the proper information, but I was being a little sarcastic because I kind of wanted to make light of the human.
Right.
And he actually apologized.
Oh, wow.
He said, "I'm sorry, you're right." And I was like, wow. And so he sent me a friend request, and I generally don't accept friend requests from certain people with certain political bents because I'm like, I'm just going to piss you off.
I've done that
but
too
I accepted
for the
this
same
one
reason.
because, but in this case, anyone that is willing, he didn't delete his comment. He left it there, and then he apologized. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You're like 2 inches above a knuckle dragger.
Like,
awesome.
What? Discourse? What?
Discourse? What was
Civil?
this?
Civil? Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Oh man. All right. Well, let's move away from this because
I have a Christmassy type of thing that was brought to my attention today by my wife that I had never heard of, and I don't think it's anything new. I'm sure someone's gonna tell in the listeners of Salty Language. Have you heard of Whamageddon?
Well, I have only because of head of the Danger Entertainment Network, Michael Leal. I had never heard of it before him, but he's posted on Facebook about it.
Okay. I had never heard of this Whamageddon until I was Sharon and I had a little bit of a date night. Went to a nice little fancy restaurant, and on the way home,
Wham! Yeah, I get
Last
it.
Christmas popped on,
Naturally.
and she said, "Yeah, Whamageddon," and I went, "What is Whamageddon?" And she said, "Well, the rules. The first rule: the objective is to go as long as possible without hearing Wham's Christmas classic, Last Christmas."
Mm.
The second rule: the game starts on December 1st and ends at midnight on December 24th. Parentheses, yes, we're European heathens. Not the 25th, get it?
Right, yeah.
The third rule: only the original version applies. Enjoy the fuck out of remixes and covers, which I thought was pretty cool because I heard a remix today that was a dance remix, and I'm like, I hope that doesn't apply.
I was going to say,
So
I
the
don't
fourth
think
rule,
I've ever heard a cover or a remix of that song. So
there are.
All right.
Yeah, on the
Fair enough.
I'm listening to the DirecTV Holiday channel, and they've got 2 remixes of it.
Oh, okay.
The fourth rule: you're out as soon as you recognize the song.
Okay.
Bonus rule: post on social media with the Whamageddon hashtag when you get hit. And I don't PvP. While we can't stop you from deliberately sending your friends to Whamhalla, the intention is that this is a survival game, not a battle royale. So don't be a dick, okay?
So the goal is
What
not
it
to
did
be the
make me
last
think
one
of-
standing?
But I think maybe next year we should put some money on this.
Oh,
Do
man.
it like a pool, right? And then keep a calendar that shows when everyone's out, and then whoever lasts the longest gets the pool.
Right.
Pool.
And I will say in advance, as though I'm not the largest Seinfeld fan in the world, if you're out, you have to use one of the gifts from the, was it King of Your Domain or Ruler of Your Domain episode, where they have the masturbation contest.
Oh.
It's like to see who can go the longest without doing it. And there's gifts of all of them, I believe, going, I'm out, like handing money to the others. So, yeah.
Yep.
This is an interesting idea. I like this.
Maybe, yeah, like next year for at Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, I think it would be a good time to throw it out there to all of the podcasting friends out there to see who'd be up for, we can just either Cash App or Venmo. Like everyone sends $1 to someone who's the pool master.
Right.
And
what's funny?
I think we should do it. It'd be a fun tradition.
I'm just thinking about it myself, cause after I saw Michael post it, I've been like paying attention, and, I don't think I've heard it. The only place I'd hear it would be in stores cause I don't listen to Christmas music, or if I do, it's Christmas music that I have. Cause I have like 3 Christmas albums that I listen to. And that's basically it. So it'll be interesting.
It would change my whole Christmas listening
Yeah.
because I have a ton of Christmas music, in my on my computer
Yeah.
that I usually play, but it's so simple easy for me to just, pop on my television and go to the seasonal channel
Yeah, right.
on my DirecTV and play it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I heard it within that thing rotates so often. I mean, I'm sure I heard it within the first day or two. So I would make a point not to listen to it all of a sudden.
Right. And now again, it is possible I've heard it and just drowned it out because not really, like I wouldn't, because I'd be honest about this game. If I'm in something like this, I'm not, I'll be honest, especially you say, put $1 on it. Who cares?
It's fun.
And then if whoever survives gets to split the money, or if they're a lone survivor, they keep it, I guess. But yeah,
because the half the fun is where did you hear it? So that's why I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to be listening to certain Christmas channels at home or whatever, because how fun would it be to be in a certain store or something? Because now you got a story for where it was that you finally heard it, or you popped into somebody's car or whatever it was.
Yeah. And it's like June and they're like, hey, check this out. No. Yeah, I'm with you. That could be interesting because I when I read into it a little bit, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, because you could probably take any one song that's not like the most common song, not like Let It Snow or something like that, or if it is, you pick a certain version that gets played, but maybe doesn't get played all the time or something. But yeah, I like this idea because I saw something similar where people were doing it with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I was like, that gets played all the time though. Like that gets played a lot. Even though I saw something voted it like the worst Christmas song ever, which is weird to me because I've heard way worse.
No, it finally, I think it finally charted this year as a top 10.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't before?
Right?
Like, really? But it makes sense that, it's...
See, it blew my mind it didn't because of two things. One, Mariah Carey has had a lot of songs in the number one spot and been in very high chart spots. And you would assume that when she released this, you would think it would have hit number one that year at least. Nope. I was really surprised by that. So, yeah. That was definitely a surprise to me because it'd be different if it was, like Christmas Time in Hollis or whatever, like.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see that not hitting number one, but it should, especially after, Beavis and Butthead giving it some play.
Some loves.
Some loves. Oh, man. So yeah.
I found a fun soundbite for Star Wars Week.
Oh, okay.
That just made me laugh.
Yeah, that's from one of the Family Guy ones. Yep, I love those so much. They did a fun job on those.
They really And then this one really got me.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Like, it was, I give the prequels a lot of leeway just because I just love Star Wars. But when I hear that by itself, just isolated, it's like, whew.
Yeah.
That's really a clip from the movie.
Yeah. My favorite is they just talked on, what is it? I believe it's on Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling on an episode I listened to about how much they love to just use the line, now that's pod racing, that Anakin says after he basically didn't actually do pod racing. Like he was in it, but he didn't do anything that was literally pod racing. And then he was like, now that's pod racing. And they do it like they'll do whatever it is they do and then say the line. And I was like, oh, I love that so much. So, actually, that reminds me, I have a story from that I want to share, which was, and for those who don't know, if you like wrestling, go check out Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling, the podcast. They talk about wrestling, but they don't do like the in-match breakdowns and get a bunch of dirt sheet stuff. And the best part about it is they're not really negative about wrestling, because as the title of the podcast is, they love wrestling. And they tend to celebrate it and the fun and whatever that they have with it, instead of being just meh about the whole thing like most wrestling podcasts are now. So it's why it's the only wrestling, well, it's not anymore, but it was the only wrestling podcast I was listening to for a little bit. Anyway, on the new episode, they talk about something, and one of them says something about, Marty says something about tomfuckery happened.
Nice.
And then he goes, tomfuckery is my favorite enhancement talent, which for anyone who doesn't know, like if you watch wrestling, more so back in the day especially, like whenever Hulk Hogan might be on TV, he would go against like Johnny Broomstick from like, wherever, New Jersey. And basically Hogan would come in, hit his 5 moves and pin the guy. And the whole point is basically just to make your big stars look amazing, hence the enhancement talent. Back in those days, they were referred to as jobbers, but it's kind of like calling someone an opening act now versus an enhancement or a supporting act, like in music or comedy. So they're an enhancement talent now. Anyway, he said that tomfuckery is his favorite name for that. And it made me laugh because we used to... I actually, on the one wrestling game they had on Nintendo 64, I had 2 guys that I created on there, and one was Tom Foolery, the other was Shane Nanigans. And we used to joke about that in my group of friends, about them being jobbers, basically. And when I heard Marty say that, I was like, oh my god. So I DM'd him and told him the story, and he was like, oh, that's awesome. And then he told me he also had, oh shoot, I don't remember their names now. Ah, damn it, and it's so good. Let me pull this up real quick here. Because it's, well, to me it was so good, I guess I should say.
Weren't you guys talking about this?
Did I?
The name sounds familiar to me. Maybe you did.
Did I? I don't remember talking about this. Maybe I did, though. Uh-oh.
I don't think it was you and I. We wouldn't have talked about this.
I might have told you. I don't remember.
Because the name suddenly sounded familiar.
I might have told you and Jen when we were talking. I feel like I might have.
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah.
Well, Marty responded, and said we had jobbers named Ricky Iron and Stephen Cole, a.k.a. the Natural Resources.
That's right. You were talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, those are so good for, like, a little kid or a younger... Because any of us who've been wrestling fans since, forever, you've got enhancement talent names that you've come up with at some point, probably.
Talent.
And
it's so weird.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's like now, I referred to somebody I was talking with about, and I said, oh, so-and-so's opening for someone. And they were like supporting, and I'm like, what? And they were like, they're support. I'm like, they're not. They're opening. Your name's first on the card. You're opening. It's in wrestling. The first match on the show is called the opening match, right? The headliner's last. That's the main event. But whatever. I understand. You're trying to add a little more dignity to the situation.
Yeah, like petroleum dispensing attendant. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Pump gas.
Right. So it's like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, also maybe don't bust my balls for calling you that, because it's not like I'm offending your race or your, I'm not trying to make you a less than. It's just literally what it was called. Like, I didn't know another name for growing up. They were jobbers. Like there were 2 of them that actually made a career of it, named the Brooklyn Brawler and Bad News Brown. Almost every match I saw them in, almost every match I saw them in, they got squashed.
Yeah.
They'd get a little offense in, maybe do a little something, and then boom, the other person hit their 5 moves, and we're out of here. And, so it's like, I'm not disrespecting anybody. It was just that's
what it was called.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but you're never going to make an argument to me that me calling you a jobber is the same as, like, an ethnic slur, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna, that's not gonna fly. So, but whatever.
Especially when it was an industry term that eventually the public found out about.
It was. Totally. It totally was. And I understand. Jobber basically means that you're not as good, or you're not good. It's like, no, jobber literally is basically someone who's starting off most of the time. Like, if you go back, there's video of probably every wrestler who's on TV right now that's a big deal. Back when they were nobody, going by their real name on some Monday Night Raw or Wednesday Superstars or Sunday Night Heat or whatever, getting mushed to the ground by some big star. That's how it works. It's like they say in wrestling, you come in and you go out on your back, basically. Meaning when you come in, you're putting over guys to help the stars stay stars. When you're leaving, you use your clout to give what's referred to as a rub to somebody to help them launch their career, right? That's all it is. But whatever. I've seen people who get...
It sounds so familiar to fluffers. You know, you start on your knees and, you know, you're just sitting there giving them the rub and, you know, you're probably using your actual name until you get your stage name. And
and then you use your rub to put someone else over and then you go out on your back. Same deal. But it's just the same as I've been to shows where the supporting acts have been bands that like used to be big, but they still have enough clout to them that people will come see them. So they can still help another act, even though that other act might be bigger, it can still help bring some crowd to the show. You know?
And here's the thing. It's like when I saw Cheap Trick open for Aerosmith, Cheap Trick was the opening act. They weren't co-headliners.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they were. They were the opener.
Yeah. No.
They had a short set. Yep. They didn't have all the fancy lights. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's, oh God, I saw some concert footage the other night from, who was it? I can't remember what band it was. They showed one of the first two bands that played, and, you know, they have a big thing behind them with their, you know, their logo or whatever, but you could see, if you, like, the angle that the person took the picture in the background, you could see the bigger band's banner, because it's much bigger. You know,
massive.
And you could still see it, but it's dark, so you can't really see it, you know, kind of a thing. But it's like, that's exactly, so they can just tear down the one in front and then the bigger one's there for later, kind of a thing, you know, because that's who people are paying $75 to see, you know, not whoever the openers are. But like like when Tony and I went and saw the Swellers' final show in Detroit, that the first band that played was Braided Veins, and that was one of Braided Veins' first shows. So they were using the Swellers to get their, you know, to get some people there, right? Yeah. There was a band called the Get Up Kids, and apparently in this area they've been around for a while, and they, you know, for a local type act, they drew really well, I guess. Well, I can't remember if it was them or if it was another band. There was one of those two bands got back together and played that show. Like, they had been broken up for a while because, you know, they all got older and families and where. But they had gotten back together to play that show. So they, using their former clout to help, you know, even, and the Swellers were doing that with a couple newer bands, because the Swellers, this was their final show, so that, you know, going out on your back, even though you're the main event, you're still going out on your back because you're really actually helping the supporting acts, is, you know, what's going on there. And it's like, yeah, it's like, so it's no disrespect if I say you're the opener. In wrestling, they say most of the guys, if you don't close the show, they want to open the show because you set the tone. And I'll tell you, I've been to plenty of concerts and shows and stuff, man, where that first band is terrible and you're just like, ugh. And you can't wait to get to a better band. And I've been to some where the openers have been better than the main event. You know, and you're like, man, that was, you know, or they get you going with a good energy and then they carry it through the show, you know. So I get it. They do support and all that stuff, but you literally are opening the show. You're the first act.
That's
you know,
it.
You're the, when they open the doors, you're the first act. That's the opening. You know, like, it's no disrespect. It's just accurate. Anyway, enough of that ranting about nothing, because that's what I do. So, all right. So I got a few stories here. I don't know if you brought any with you too or not, but I got a few stories here to go through.
Awesome.
All right. So, have you heard about this? There's a company that has a toilet that basically the angle on it decreases over time so that slowly it becomes unbearable to sit on. And the point of it is to make it so employees can't sit on the toilet for like an hour and basically skip work.
As you're sitting on it.
Yeah. It basically gets to a point that it's unbearable to sit on because the angle like hurts basically. You know?
That's interesting.
Because there was this, and there was another story I saw this week that there was some company that's going to start. They said they were going to start basically doing a smell test if an employee was in the bathroom for longer than like 20 minutes or something like that. They're going to come in and smell to make sure that
they
using
actually made a stinky.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Wow.
Here's my thing in both situations. Okay, as a person who's suffered from IBS for a long time, I feel like both of those discriminate against me. And I feel like if I have a diagnosis of this, I could get an employer in a lot of trouble for this. Because if you make it to where I can't sit on a toilet, but my body says I have to sit on that toilet, I have a condition that says I have to sit on this toilet, yeah, that's not going to work real well. That's like telling somebody who can't stand that they have to stand for the job. You know, like if I have to be there, I can't do it. So these employers are still going to probably have to have one toilet in the stall, or for handicapped people. Can you imagine these toilets with handicapped people?
Oh, yeah.
Like
how is that possible?
Right. Yeah. So you're still going to have an employee go use the handicap stall instead of sitting on these and sit there for an hour. But my first thought really, though, was the other line of this. I'm like, there are people who have problems. Not to mention the height issue. What if you have somebody really tall? Does the toilet get more uncomfortable faster? Or if you're short? You know, it's like there's all these logistics and just lawsuits waiting to happen. And I understand employers want employees to work. You know? But, and they don't want them on their phones. And I know that's the big thing. Is they're afraid they're just going to go in there, avoid work, and sit on their phone. You know? I don't know. There's got to be a better answer than this. Because I remember when I was a kid and I was told I couldn't go to the bathroom when I was in school. And I just got up and went to the bathroom. And the teacher sent me to the dean's office when I came back. And I gladly went down to the dean's office. And basically said, if this is a problem, I'll talk to my parents and we'll talk to an attorney. Because I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm sorry, but I know I also saw there's some lawyer trying to make an argument in Canada that employees are not entitled to bathroom breaks. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. It's something we have to do. You cannot not use the bathroom. It can cause you bodily harm. It's like this is all just ridiculous. All right. My rant's over.
That's actually been going down here in Idaho, where they've got these, big, huge production lines for chicken and whatever, and that people were so afraid to leave the line that they were just peeing themselves.
Oh, that's really sanitary and good for the food.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just unbelievable. This is the kind of thing that just what gets me about this is it's just a new Band-Aid to the same problem that employers have been fighting for years and years and years, and it's never going to change.
Right.
People have always found a way to screw around at work.
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Also, I would like to point out that if I was one of the workers in any of these places, and if anyone happens to work in one of these places, and those places allow for smoke breaks, but are going to implement toilets and stuff like this, make sure you talk to a lawyer, because I'm pretty sure that you've got some ground to stand on here. Because literally a smoke break is a waste of company time. If you have to take your own break to do it, that's one thing, because what you do on your break is your whole business. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah. But, and I used to make this argument at places that I've worked that would allow people to go out and have a cigarette, but I'm like, hey, I just want to go stand outside for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And they're like, well, you can't do it. I'm like, so if I take up smoking, I can. It's like, so literally, it's like I could just stand out there and burn a cigarette, not smoke it, but just burn it. And you're okay with it. But if I just want to, for my anxiety, go out there for 10 minutes, I can't. Like, I don't think that's right, and same with this kind of stuff. Like you said, this is a problem that's existed forever. It's going to continue to exist. It isn't going to go away. I understand trying to find ways around it, but really the problem here is not, I don't know. I don't feel the problem is the employee in the bathroom that long. The problem is that they have access to their phone while they're in the bathroom. So, yeah, it's as long as they have access to their phones, people are going to want to be on their phones. This isn't just a problem in the bathroom. This is a problem at desks.
It could be anywhere.
I talk with people on Twitter all day long that are at work, and I'm sure most of them shouldn't be on their phone, you know.
We have this kid that jumps on in the summertime, helps us with landscaping. And, one day I walked in and he was leaning up against a wall where I know where he can grab Wi-Fi, and he was on his phone.
Yeah.
And he got startled, and I just looked at him. I just said, if you go around that door, it's a stairwell. No one will see you. Because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's a battle that is just not worth having.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, for the most part, and every workplace is different. When it comes time to being focused on the job, getting something done, nailing it, everyone steps up and does it. Yeah. And then we have days where it's just not so freaking crucial.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's unfortunate that my boss can be somewhat of a trailer queen. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's basically on giant job sites. It's the person that sits in the work trailer and then just, rips on everyone for, just throws down the hammer about productivity, and they're just sitting on their ass all day.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, we work for a homeowners association. It's like, come on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like I said, I get it. I understand it, because working with people, there's always those people who will, they're either late or they're right on time. They're always the first one who want to go home. They, everybody's got that employee that works with them too and stuff. And honestly, my attitude was always like, get them out of here. Like, just send them home. If they want to go home that bad, send them home. I'd rather do that than deal with them half-assing their work where it can affect me. It's like, I'd rather just pick up a little extra work. Like, just get them out of here. I'll do it, even though I know that's not really the answer either. But it's, really the answer is, if you have employees that are giving you this much of a problem, you'll know it. It'll show somewhere. And when it does, fire them. Bring in somebody else. If other employees see people getting fired for not doing the work, it'll light a fire under people for a little bit. I mean, it may not be forever, but it'll at least, people be like, oh shit, people are getting fired for this. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing about this kind of stuff, back to the toilet whole thing, is it always comes back down to people that want to call themselves supervisors or managers who don't want to actually do any supervising or managing.
Right.
I mean, that's what it always comes down to for me. And I know that there's job sites where, like if you're in a factory and you're on the assembly line, that shit's got to be highly regimented. No, you shouldn't have a freaking phone on you.
Right.
There's safety considerations alone.
Yep.
And the breaks are going to be highly regimented on an assembly line. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And that's just a different workplace. And if there is some place where somebody actually has the time to go walk over somewhere, sit in a bathroom for that long, someone's not supervising.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. And it is a little tough, though, because a lot of places have got it to where you can't ask somebody, about like what could be a health issue or something. But it's still like, just as a common decency, you feel like you could be like, hey, man, are you okay? I see you keep like, like a manager coming over. Yeah, like, do you need to go home? Like, are you okay? Like, that kind of thing. Like, I feel like that kind of thing should be okay as long as you're not, not doing anything, that's like humiliating the person or something, but just asking them, just, hey, you've been in the bathroom 12 times today. Like, are you okay? Like, but yeah, I don't know. These policies really kind of piss me off when these companies do this. And Yeah, and part of it's because it's hard for the workers to fight it unless they get together and fight it. Like it's hard to fight on your own unless you can tie it to a civil rights thing. Like I said, if this affects disabled people or people with medical conditions, they'll be able to fight it a little easier because you might be able to find, somebody willing to fight for your civil liberties or your just for anti-discrimination on you there. But for the average person and stuff, it's like, not to mention, I mean, man, some people just take longer to go, like, I mean, you don't know what everybody's diet is. Not everybody can just, drop, back up, drop it off and go. Some people need to, sometimes it's got to work. So I don't know.
I mean, you're really starting to get into this whole, like, I mean, I get it if someone's spending 20 minutes, but we're really talking about 5 or 10 minutes here in a day.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people, who've worked in places where they're not allowed to do like anything but the work. Like if they see you doing anything else, you'll get written up or whatever. But, that's one thing. But like I said, when you come to, if you're going to tell me you're going to limit my time in the bathroom or whatever, it's like, look, man, I bust my ass the rest of the time. If I need 20 minutes in the bathroom, I need 20 minutes in the bathroom. I can't help it, So, jeez. Anyway.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So, oh shoot, I got to pull this story up because I want to be able to make sure I get the details of it correct.
The deets.
Yeah. So hopefully it loads quick, unlike normal. Because my computer doesn't like to do things. All right, so this is from the CBC, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right or not, but was it Nunavut man? Says takes down Christmas tree with rifle and ends up with Charlie Brown tree. It was negative 31 degrees Celsius when Lindell made the trip with his friend. They traveled almost 130 kilometers inland from their hometown because this guy got a new. I skipped the one thing. Whoops. He had gotten a new snowmobile, and he wanted to go cut down a Christmas tree, and bring it back with his snowmobile. 4.5 hours into the trip, they realized they hadn't brought any tools to chop down a tree. Lindell's axe was at home, and the hacksaw he expected to find in his toolkit wasn't there. There was no saw in the emergency multi-tool he carries around either, which doesn't seem like a very good multi-tool. So Lindell looked to Goy, I think is his friend's name, for advice. He said, "We have two choices. We can pull it down with the snowmobile, or we could shoot it," Lindell said. Pulling a tree down with their snowmobile sounded like a good way to get stuck, he said. I had just bought a lot of bullets half price, so I was okay with the idea of shooting it down, he said. It took 10 shots with a .303 caliber rifle to fell the 6-meter tree he'd picked out for his high-ceiling living room, and he got a bonus tree. I was going through one tree and hitting the next tree, so I took 2 trees down. The men shot down 4 trees in all, and while Goy has one decorated in his home, Lindell is using an artificial one because the trees didn't travel well during the dark and bumpy ride back to their hometown. Sure enough, when we got home, the trees didn't have any needles left. Maybe 1 or 2 branches with a couple of needles. And he also lost the end of the tallest tree when they hit a snowbank. So,
I hate to say it, but I don't think it's all that crazy.
It's not, because they were like, well, this will work. But
yeah, because it will. It'll put holes through the...
Yeah, it'll work.
Yeah.
Really, the flaw in their plan was using the snowmobiles to bring the trees back.
Actually, yeah.
Or maybe they didn't have some sort of something to put the trees on, I'm assuming is the real problem. They were probably just dragging them behind them. And
it's unusual that the, hey guys, check this out portion of the idea actually works.
Yeah, exactly. I just love that.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Where is that? Is it some like Canadian? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
assuming if they're talking in Celsius that it was in Canada somewhere.
Right, that in kilometers and I don't know, all
Yeah.
these other weird things that those people do. I don't know.
Yeah, kilometers.
Kilometers, yeah.
Yeah, some Star Wars reference.
No, yep. Spoilers, I know. Jeez. Whatever. Oh man. Let's see, what else do I have here? I had a couple others I wanted to go over real quick. I saw a quick one here. A woman tried to ignite her boyfriend for not celebrating when she was hired at Subway.
Ignite.
Yep.
As in light on fire.
As in doused in, I think it was lighter fluid or something like that, and then tried to set him on fire.
Was he asleep?
I don't know. I'm pulling the article back up. I couldn't remember. She sprayed him with lighter fluid and then threw lighted matches at him. Where is it? According to the police report, Jones told officers she had 2 Smirnoff Ice alcoholic beverages and 2 strong mixed drinks that contained rum that night. Her roommate, who she has a romantic relationship with, alleges Jones sprayed him with lighter fluid and then threw lit matches at him, according to court documents. The man locked her out of their home as he awaited police arrival. That's when Jones committed criminal damage to the door frame, court documents say. Jones told police she did not remember how she got locked out of the home, but remembers being upset with her boyfriend after he wouldn't celebrate her hiring at Subway. And she's now being held on a $15,000 bond.
Now, other than the fact that this guy needs to work on his partner choosing skills or quit doing so much meth.
And we begin with breaking news in the Katy area. A father on the run and a barber in the hospital after a
Apparently the site did not listen.
This is actually kind of fun.
The site did not listen to my mute site command. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But the part of it that I actually kind of find amusing and understand is the part where you douse the sleeping person with lighter fluid and then stand back and actually try flicking matches at them to see if one of them will take.
Yeah.
I think that's actually kind of fun. That'd be a good like sitcom bit or something.
Yeah, good fun game for the kids to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a pretty good visual on that when I'm like, that I could see that, especially if you're hammered,
Yeah.
So you like,
well, she did have 2 Smirnoff Ice.
She did have some Smirnoff Ice, yeah. And I mean that girl was white girl wasted for sure.
Uh-huh.
And I could just see her like fumbling at the matches, trying to like get them to light and flick one over.
Right.
That sounds kind of entertaining.
That's the thing is I could just see her like she's sitting in the like recliner across from him.
Oh, even better, he's on the couch.
Yeah, he's laying on the couch and she's just pissed and she's like lighting a match and just flicking it at him.
And just throwing him over. Yeah.
You son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I got a new job at fucking Subway and you goddamn motherfucker don't want to party with me?
Always trying to stand in the way of my artistic expression.
Sleeping on the couch.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and every time the snoring and that goddamn snoring. That was the last straw, actually.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. I understand. I'd be that way, too. In fact, I think this is how I'm going to stop snoring in people now. Like, if someone snores around me, I'm dousing them in lighter fluid and start flicking matches at them.
I say at least, like, get some high octane Everclear.
Well, the way I feel about it is if we're going to approach this as a game, there has to be, it's got to be like a 50-50 kind of situation. I don't, that way they can win, but actually, no, you're right. I'd rather have it like 75-25. Yeah. My favor. Oh, boy.
Whew. Yeah. That's
the real question. The real question for me will be, is he going to let her come back and live there, or is he moving out, or because this is one of those where it's like you can't wait until later when you get to hear the, in the past this couple blah blah blah,
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, jeez, what are you doing here?
Well, all right. We know how these things typically happen.
Yeah.
There could even be a restraining order, and then somebody needs a little white girl wasted crazy poontang.
Right.
And all of a sudden, all that stuff's out the window, restraining order, all the stuff's gone.
Yep.
And they're bumping uglies.
Yep. That's exactly how it happens.
Yep.
That's right.
Because based on that decision-making skills on relationships, it's probably not his forte to go out and strike up a new relationship. So, just like anytime you throw the garbage out, you got to go back to the dump and pull some of it back.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one I got here was, what the heck? Freaking ads trying to load. Ugh. So Lyft thought some users' real names were offensive content. Apparently, users with the names such as Candace Poon, Kara Dick, Mike Finger, and others were ordered to get new names within 2 days. This was, of course, Lyft says, that it was an error when they were trying to improve their systems.
That is so weird.
Right? It just cracks me up. It's just yeah. This message was sent in error. Lyft's response to the affected user Candace Poon said, I feel so bad for that woman.
I know a girl named Cindy Poon, so.
Man, that's got to be rough. We were trying to improve our systems to create a safe and respectful community, and we missed the mark here. Rest assured, your name does not violate our community guidelines, and we're sorry we sent you the email.
Dumbass.
Says, regardless, the incident resulted in confusion and left some Lyft users unsure of how to proceed with the situation, since they were being told their legal name didn't comply with its policies, such as Nicole Cumming, Kara Dick DeBartolo, which that one I don't even understand. I mean, his first name's Dick, but
yeah,
it's that doesn't even remotely seem. Anyway, Mike Finger, of course, because that's I mean, that one sounds like some teenagers coming up with a name. I don't understand. Oh, that one. I bet it's for. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. Candace Poon. But anyway, yeah. So. It's yeah. At least they corrected it. At least they got out. They kind of got in front of it a little bit. And
I just don't understand why companies don't think this through.
Yeah, that people actually have unfortunate names sometimes.
They do.
Yeah. Listen, there used to be a NASCAR driver by the name of Dick Trickle. I mean,
Exactly.
Can you imagine if he worked for Lyft? Jeez.
Yeah, I know a freak of a freakus Pelekus and his sister Buttery Nipples. I mean,
exactly. Just sometimes the names your parents give you are weird,
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh man. Like the funny part to me is that it's like, guys like people like Mike Finger has been, people have been like ragging him for years for that name, I'm sure. And pull Mike Finger and bullshit like that. Anyway, so, and then he gets this, and it's like, I wonder if at first he was like, okay, who's trying to be funny, And then it's oh wait, no.
If I had that name most of my life and I was already used to where that goes, I would kind of look at it as like I'm already trolling everybody.
Right. Like.
And take some pride in it. Like, oh yeah, you dumbass.
Well,
asses.
What's weird to me about this too is it's like, I feel like if you work for Lyft, I feel like they should have a copy of your driver's license. Like, to verify that you have one. So they should be able to verify your name versus your document. But
yeah.
I mean, maybe they don't. I don't know, because I don't.
Don't they do some sort of background checks on some of these people? No,
I hope so.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm assuming too much.
I guess, yeah. So, all right. What do I got? I got one more here. I wanted to. Where is it? Here it is. Actually, I had two more here, real quick. I'm sorry. So this first one was a guy got pulled over for like in a stolen car, and when the police looked at the license plates on it, they were made of paper, and the numbers were drawn on with crayon.
I love this shit.
Yeah.
That's just some of the best in the world.
Right? It's like, who? I just love this person was like, yeah, this works. This is passable.
It makes me think of Vegas Vacation when Rusty goes to get the fake ID and he just holds up the big, huge, fake license with his head through the hole.
Right.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Yep. Oh, man. It was a 20-year-old man said the officers noticed a fake plate and ran the vehicle ID, finding out the car was stolen. The guy who did this is also on probation for grand larceny. Gland larceny is a whole different crime. Oh, my gosh. It says police say the car was stolen when the owner left it unlocked and running outside of a grocery store. They left it running to keep it warm, and of course the police say, stop being stupid and leaving your cars running out in the parking lots. That's not exactly how they worded it, but I was pretty close. I might have paraphrased a tad. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Just wow on this one, bro. Good try, though. Good try. Maybe next time you'll get them. Like, dude, at least next time. I mean, use marker. Come on, crayon.
Crayon is just so good.
I know, right?
That's the special touch right there.
And I'm sure his thought really was that obviously he knows he stole the car. And he's like, well, if I put this plate on there, they won't be able to run it because it's not it's not that plate. So they won't know it's stolen. Solid logic. The problem was they knew it was a fake plate.
I wonder why. How did you know?
Yeah. How'd you figure it out? I did such a good job. But like, all we're saying is we've reported your art teacher. Like, they're probably losing their job. All right, so here's the last story I have, and I had to do this one because Tony's not here. So, and I'm sure people were gonna wonder what happened to Tony, like where he was this week, and I think we have the answer right here. Drunken raccoon staggers through German Christmas market and passes out. The tipsy raccoon apparently couldn't hold back from having a good time at Erfurt's Christmas market. However, the furry creature's daytime drinking binge ended in grisly fashion. A raccoon indulged in too much mulled wine at a Christmas market in central Germany on Saturday, amusing onlookers as the furry animal staggered about before passing out. The raccoon was obviously intoxicated, a police spokesperson from the city of Erfurt said. However, a breathalyzer test on the animal was not carried out, police said. And just for the record, I did look to make sure this is a legit thing, that this article is legit, and it was on a variety of respectable news sites. So, it says, apparently the unsuspecting raccoon had sipped mulled wine left over from glasses, the Mass Daily Build reported. There's video of this also in the link here, so if you want to see the raccoon staggering around, have at it. Initial reports suggested the fire department had taken the inebriated raccoon to the animal shelter. However, the case was handed over to a local hunter who subsequently shot the raccoon.
Wow.
Which is very much unlike a similar case which made headlines in the summer of 2018 when police officers picked up two tipsy hedgehogs, probably Sonic and Knuckles, near Erfurt's cathedral, where they had come across discarded bottles of alcohol-infused eggnog. The animals were then taken care of by the zoo. Now I want to know what they mean by taken care of.
Care of, exactly. What's that a euphemism for?
Like, they went to a park.
We need to get them out of the way.
Yeah. So
we called Rudy Giuliani.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's where Tony's been this week. So
solid call.
Yeah. R.I.P. Drunken Raccoon. I'm sad.
That means Tony won't ever be on again because he got shot.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe he's become pure force now.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
yes.
We'll have to see. I guess we'll just wait until the next episode and find out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm. Or don't. Whatever.
Join us next week.
Yeah. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I forgot. I did the music thing last week. I'm actually.
Oh yeah, what was that again?
It was. Hold on, I have to pull the.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it was. The prompt was a song to play about being crazy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, boy, I can't talk. Cheeto Bandito said Madman Across the Water by Elton John is the song that he would go with. Which I don't think I've ever heard, so I'll have to listen to it. Or if I have, I can't recall it. So
same here.
I'll have to check. I was just thinking, like, I totally didn't look in the Twitter and stuff to see if anybody responded. Whoops.
You got another email? I'll quickly check the Twitter.
I don't, so.
That was it, huh?
Yeah.
And what was yours again?
Oh, mine was, You May Be Right.
Oh, that's right. And I thought that was a really great choice. That was like a super, that's kind of like, because it goes back a ways.
Yeah.
It was very popular at the time, but it goes back a ways.
Yeah. It's a song I always liked. Like when we played the video in the video store of it and it would come on, I always enjoyed the song because it's just kind of, it's kind of irreverent and whatever. So, but but then right after that, I was like, oh, geez, how am I not thinking of Stone Cold Crazy? And then later I'm like, oh, geez, Queen has two of my favorite songs with the word crazy in the title. So, because Crazy Little Thing About Love,
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still going to stick with the other one because although Stone Cold Crazy of the three is my favorite of the three songs, but I do really dig that other one. And the other one felt like a little deeper cut, So, do you have one?
I would go with Dark Side of the Moon, the song.
Right.
Because it's all about crazy. And I love playing it too. I was played it in a couple bands that I was in. Did like acoustic version of it. Mm-hmm. It's really fun to play it acoustic.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and I mean it's all about.
I used to love listening to that at the video store too, because we used to throw on Pink Floyd, the Dark Side of the Moon concert video.
Oh yeah, that's a great video.
Yeah, and we used to just, I don't know, it's like 12 hours or something, but it was, but yeah, when they play that, and a lot of the stuff is, on there is really, really good. And it was just a great vibe to kind of end the night on, like just kind of chill as we're closing and whatever. So I always dug that song too, or that album, I should say. In fact, it's probably honestly, it's probably the only Pink Floyd that I really go back and listen to regularly now because it's got, other, songs from other stuff on it. So. Or different albums, Can't talk. All right, so this one... Oh, good, I'm glad I have you here for this one. This week's prompt is a song to play that mentions alcohol.
A song to play that mentions alcohol.
And by play, of course, for anyone listening, this means like that you would play, like if someone was like, hey, play a song about alcohol off your playlist or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean like, pick up a guitar, but it could.
Yeah.
I had two.
Oh, man. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
I've been kind of using these, like, I was kind of thinking of like I was telling Tony, like, using it like a word association kind of thing also, to where it's like, look at it and just what's the first one that pops in your head, and then also maybe then have kind of one where you think about it a little. And the first two that pop in my head are Alcohol by Bare Naked Ladies, only because it's literally called alcohol. And the other one that really pops in my head would be Whiskey in a Jar.
Yep.
But I was trying to think if I can come up with one that's a little more... Oh, you know what? Here we go. Damn it, I can't think of the name of the song, though. Curses. That one that's by Mishka Shubali. The one about the... shit. The one where the potato peels in the sink don't turn into vodka.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's such a great line. It's in his book, too. I'll try to find it real quick here.
There's some song that I know I used to perform that, post sobriety.
Yeah.
That had lyrics about drinking that I used to... We would play at a 12-step club's annual soiree.
Mm-hmm.
And we would play this song, and I would always be like, should I sing the lyrics straight or not? And I can't remember what song it was.
Right. That's funny.
I just remember thinking, should I edit it? I'm like, no, I'm not going to edit this.
Okay, here, I'll have a link in the show notes that I found from genius.com for the Mishka Shubali song. And the name of the song is Don't Cut Your Hair. And the line I was trying to think of is the potato peelings in the sink did not turn into vodka as I hoped.
That's great.
I only start to need a drink after the liquor stores are closed. So, yeah. He's got a lot of songs that are really, I know I've talked about him on here before, and I talked with Henno plenty about him. He's got a really dark turn because he's a comedian and a songwriter, but these aren't songs that are written. These are kind of true life songs. After reading his book, you see that there's actually a lot of this stuff that came from real situations. So it's kind of a dark song, but good song.
One of the favorites that my last band played all the time was Have a Drink on Me by AC/DC.
Oh, yeah.
Love that song.
Yeah.
That's a great song. Because it's literally the whole song is about booze.
Yeah.
But so I'd either go with that or Cold Gin by Kiss.
Ooh, I didn't think about Cold Gin. Yeah. Okay. See, there you go. That's the kind of song I was looking for. One that, may not get mentioned as much anymore. That kind of thing. So that's a good pull. All right.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I did.
I skimmed Twitter and Facebook. I didn't see anything.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. If I forgot something, sorry. Point it out to me, and I'll read it next week, I guess. Oh shoot, yeah. I guess I should probably do Dude Mountain real quick here.
Oh yeah, here. Where's our?
Do you have it pulled up by chance or no?
I do actually.
Oh, okay. Awesome, because I don't. So very helpful if you could handle that, though.
Yeah, I got my ESPN app.
Oh, dang.
Which was really handy. I mean, I've been pretty good.
Yeah, we're getting down to. This week is week 16, so next week is the actual last week, not the way Tony thought it was.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, we got 2 more weeks to go.
That's why I was like, it is when he said it. So, all right. So what do we got here?
Yeah, the standings as of today, all the way at the bottom. I appreciate for everybody. I am Salty Bottoms, by the way. So I appreciate the fact that the Mascot Super Fight and the D-Gens from
up
wherever
up north
are
wait up north.
I appreciate the fact that they are floating me higher up in the rankings because I pretty much was manning that low point all by myself.
Yeah, it was nice of them to give you a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then next we had Ditz and Dan, and I have to say that the gap between Salty Bottoms and Ditz and Dan is getting insurmountable. Then we got the Sexy Skeletors, Hard Passes at number 6, Dr. Feelgood at number 5, the Jackals at number 4, Someone's cock is small at number 3. The underdogs are number 2, and holding on to the top is still Madden 16 picks. You got an 11-point spread as of right now.
Wow.
We're prior to the Sunday game, so.
Yeah, there are 3 games today. I think, well, no, they should all be done by now, I think. But, yeah, there's still Sunday games, though. So, oh, man, that's still wild. Just that stranglehold on top place.
Yeah. Yes, the games are all done now.
Yeah. Barring me forgetting to put picks in next week, I'd say it's pretty safe.
Yeah, you'd have to have a complete. Yeah, it'd have to be a total meltdown.
Yeah, exactly. But you never know. There's still the Sunday game, so that gap could close some and whatever. So we'll see.
Close, yeah.
We'll see. Boy, that'd be something, wouldn't it? Basically, hold the first all season long and then drop right away. Whew. Reminds me of the one season in fantasy football. I went undefeated through a regular season and lost the first week of the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah. Was untouchable all season long, basically, just routing everybody. And then the first week of the playoffs, my opponent, his quarterback went to overtime and he threw he threw a touchdown in overtime that gave him the win.
Jeez.
So it came down to that. Yeah. So it's my favorite season.
So, my gimmick was to pick the home teams, the bottom team. And literally, if I just decided to pick the away team, the top team, I would have done really good this year. And I know if I decide to switch that for next year and be the salty toppers, I'm sure it's just going to go the other way. And I'm going to be at the bottom anyway.
The best part would be calling yourself the salty toppers, and then, you'd have to maybe change your name to Switch or something partway through.
Something, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking that I'm topping everybody, and
you're actually a bottom. Yeah.
I'm just a basic bottom bitch.
Yeah.
Shit, that should be my name. Basic bottom bitches.
I like it. I mean, it's no fat bottom girls, but I like it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think you have anything else?
No.
All right. Well, I guess let's wrap her up here. We went a little longer than I thought we did, but I'm going to blame that on technology and Tony not being here. Yeah.
That's
no.
the ticket.
Yeah. No. So I guess, as always, head over to saltylanguage.com. You can find all the links to the show notes and other stuff there. So click around in there. Like I said, all the notes from tonight's episode are in the show notes, so, they'll be on the website, so you can find them there. And you can also see the networks we're part of, or links to the networks, I should say. Like the Tangent Bound Network, and the previously mentioned
Danger! Watch your back! Danger!
Entertainment. So go check out those networks and find some other fine shows to listen to, or something. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah!
Thank you, Macho.
Almost went a whole episode without a macho drop.
I don't like it.
No.
I was getting uncomfortable. I'm sure you could tell.
Yeah.
No, sir. I didn't like it.
Oh, man. All right. So, if you want to contact the show, you can reach us at salty_language on Twitter. I heard Twitter was supposed to do a whole bunch of account purges, and I was all excited because I thought maybe...
Oh, maybe the salty language would open up.
But I think they've already done it, and I checked the other day and still can't do it. So I'll keep checking. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if I'll bother. I mean, we've had it for 8 years, 9 years, so it's like, eh.
You're one with the underscore.
Yeah, as much as I hate it, it's there. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Stunami. How about you, Heno, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Ida Heno. And I got a podcast that I do called Moving the Needle podcast, besides the Crazy Life that I do with Brian.
Yep.
But Moving the Needle is me and my friends Steph and Roy and Sean. And we talk about movies and television and then embarrass each other about music about once a month or so, or every other month.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. And sometimes you have guests also.
Yeah, and we did. We had we'll have a new episode up this coming week too. With we had Sarah Netzley who was on our rom-coms episode. She came back and joined us so we could talk about Grosse Point Blank.
Nice.
The movie.
Speaking of rom-coms. Wait.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah, and that's how it kind of came up because it in the process of talking about rom-coms that got mentioned and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a rom-com," you know, and I was like, "Is it?" Because I literally the movie did nothing for me, and so I just never really paid that much attention to it. So I was kind of excited to go see it again or to watch it again and then talk about it.
Yeah, I'm very interesting to hear your opinions on that because it's really interesting to me that the movie did nothing for you because so many people who are like music nerds were so like
it's a
crazy about that movie, you know.
You'll hear my perspective. Yeah.
So I'm very curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, without that movie, most people wouldn't know who the Violent Femmes are. So.
Yeah.
I say that half joking, but a lot of people learned who they were after that movie. Yeesh.
There was a lot of music that a lot of people learned about that music that basically had no business being in 1986. Or a movie about a reunion from 1986.
Yeah.
It was great music, but anyhow, you can hear the rest of my opinion if you check out Moving the Needle this week.
I like that. Way to tease. Right. And what else am I forgetting? Oh, we're on Instagram at Salty Language, and we're on a bunch of places. If you want to find our social media links, they're all on the website. But Twitter's usually, Twitter's usually the best place to interact, at least with me. If you interact on Instagram, you'll generally get Tony. So.
And if you are doing any last-minute Christmas shopping on Amazon, go on to saltylanguage.com and scroll down to the bottom.
I don't think that works anymore.
It does.
Does it?
I use it all the time.
Okay. I was told that they were getting rid of that program. So, okay. Well, never mind then. Please go to saltylanguage.com. Scroll.
The link goes through. I try it all the time, so I don't know if you guys are getting any money from it. But...
I don't know. I'll have to ask Tony. If you do happen to use it and you don't see the link at the bottom, it's generally because of like an ad blocker.
Yeah.
I found that myself for some reason. It didn't even show up. Like, it doesn't show like a little X or anything. It's just
there's nothing.
Not
it's
there.
Just blank.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for that then. I mean, at least thanks for the effort, even if it isn't working. But I'll have to make sure. I'll have Tony look into it because if we're supposed to get money, I want to make sure he's getting that money to, help however it does.
Because I finally figured out, like, we're using Amazon now for so many of our work purchases, and I'm like, geez, I could go through Salty Language, and I'm like, we buy some expensive stuff.
That'd be awesome, yeah. Yeah, or if you just want to buy expensive stuff, message me and I can give you my wish list. So,
that too.
I'm all for that as well. All right. So I guess until next time, have a beer, you'll be. Oh, have a spiked eggnog, you'll be fine. Or don't if you're, so inclined. I'm not pushing.
And have a cold gin on me.
And, man, I don't know what to say to end here. Utini?
Utini!